Welcome to the next episode of Powering India's Tomorrow, presented by Ericsson. My name is Rajiv Makhni, and today we're going to take our 5G journey even forward, because 5G is going to take us all now to the next level. Thank you once again for all the incredible response to this series. Now, in today's episode, we're going to do something very, very interesting. I have Randeep Sekhon, CTO for Bharti Airtel. Now, Randeep is very passionate about changing the way we all look at a mobile operator, just from an access provider, the way we think, to a digital lifestyle provider. I'm going to talk to him about all this customer excitement that we all have around 5G phones, price points, and then I'm going to ask him the big question. When is it a right time to buy a 5G device in India? What kind should we buy? Let's get started. Thank you, Randeep, for joining us. It's absolutely a pleasure to have you on the show. I've been waiting for this one. So, Randeep, how are you looking at the prospect of introducing 5G into India? How is it going to all pan out?
Thanks, Rajiv, for having me here. And actually, 5G is something which is a very exciting prospect for Indian telecom. As we all know that Indian 4G networks are not as fast as they should be, purely because of the number of users we have. So introducing 5G will really give the wireless users a great speed. Now, with the speed being so important at home, whether you are studying, working, or getting some entertainment from home. So I would say the wireless experience at home will get a real kick with 5G. And it should not be limited to just cities. It should be whole India, because we all know that the data demand is pan-India. So we really are very excited with the prospect of launching 5G next year.
Wow, I really hope this happens quickly. What are the early use cases that you see for 5G in India? How will we all be using it? How is it going to change our lives?
Yes, actually, we are also seeing a lot of phones in our own network. I mean, if I was to tell you, there are like at least 5 million phones already in the network which can support 5G. And I believe during Diwali, you'll see much more phones being bought. And anybody who wants a smartphone today and his budget is, let's say, 15, 20,000, he has a 5G option. So in my belief, this is the right time to upgrade to a 5G if you are in the thing of changing your phone. In my view, the first use case which will be is the normal which we have, which is called enhanced mobile broadband, which means your 4G experience will become much faster. With 5G coming in, your data will be faster. So that will be the first experience, really, if you ask me, for the average Indian. The rural India, which is today not getting that much of speed, sometimes will also get a good speed. So I would say enhanced mobile broadband is the first use case which will touch every Indian. Then the industrial use cases are built. So they will not be day zero, but they will start getting built, which we are already building using 4G technology. So I would say that will get a next impetus. But the first use case should be mobile broadband. And in some cases, a fixed wireless access where you can use outdoor antenna and get much higher speeds than you would get with your phone. I think that should be another first use case.
So, Randeep, let's talk about what 5G really is, a big promise. How are you looking at accelerating the digital transformation of small enterprises in India with 4G and, of course, now with 5G?
Rajiv, this is very interesting because 5G has been kind of a, you can say, thought provoker or inertia breaker for industry to think automation, to think digitization. Earlier, they were thinking probably it's not for us, it is for any IT enabled industry, but not for manufacturing, not for logistics, not for ports, not for airports. But with the trigger and the word thinking about it with cloud, IoT, and 5G, I think this trioca is going to create so much of potentials around industry. And I would say the three big domains in which the industry can make use of it is safety. You can use like drones to have visual check on, let's say, a port. It is also on productivity. I mean, we believe in digital India. We believe in Atmanirbhar India. We believe Indian manufacturing to compete with the world and be the supplier for the world will need to be efficient. So I would say the productivity and efficiency angle of how 5G cloud and IoT can help industries be there. I think that will be another big one. And smaller industries, which have to now really, you can say, create that scale, this would be a big trigger for them. So we are working as, because a lot of smaller industries are our customers in our enterprise business, we are working with them actually curating use cases which will help them win big and carry that extra advantage against their competition.
Wow, I really, really hope again. I keep saying this every time I hear things about 5G. I hope it happens soon. Now, let's go to that one question everyone's waiting for. Can you elaborate on 5G trials in India? Where are we?
I think India is very ready for 5G. And I would believe, Rajiv, that Indian market is, as we all know, very cost conscious market. We have a huge pressure on our revenues. So we really cannot go splurging on technology as it comes. So by the time India gets ready to launch 5G, we will be already on the Gen 2 of solutions, which means more efficient, less weight, more cost effective. So the first generation of any technology, as we all know, has some basic niggles which get fixed in Gen 2. By the time 2022 India gets to launch, we will get the real nice mature products from the 5G suppliers like Ericsson, Nokia, these kind of suppliers. But we also have to get our cloud network ready. We also have to have transport network ready, which is the fiber optics and the IP and optic networks that we have been getting ready for last almost 6 to 9 months. So we will be ready to launch as and when the spectrum gets finished, auction gets finished, and we get a spectrum. So we will go green because everything else is done. We have shown these demonstrations. We showed it in our Hyderabad office last year using a 4G frequency retuned as 5G. That also we did with Ericsson. But this year we already have trial licenses in 4 cities. We are live in Mumbai, and we are live in Delhi NCR, especially Gurgaon Cyber Hub. We are seeing very exciting speeds. I can tell you the speeds you can get up to 1 Gbps. You cannot even think of getting a 1 Gbps on a wireless network. Of course, setting the expectation right, this is an empty network, a test phone, so not a normal use. But even in deep indoors, we are able to get decent speeds of 200-300 Mbps, which is much higher than what we get on 4G today. 4G is loaded. I mean, I think the reason we don't get that much in 4G is not technology, but the lesser spectrum and more users. 5G will give you a bigger spectrum, and initially it will be only the early movers, so experience will be great. We are really very excited to see the results. I mean, sometimes you find it may not be able to give you that coverage, but I can tell you, I can promise that the experience will be really good in 5G.
Randeep, a big question mark really is always about the deployment of the ecosystem in India. We've had, a little bit of hiccups before. How are you looking at creating the 5G ecosystem in India?
Two, three things. I think one part which is very important part is the handset part, because sometimes the handsets do not come up with the right, you can say, frequencies which will be used in the country. We saw that during 4G, some handsets did not support the right frequencies, like sub-gigahertz they did not support. So you're working with all the top manufacturers in handsets to tell them that India 5G will be in sub-6, which is 3500, but also will be in the 4G frequencies because you will do dynamic spectrum sharing. So we need to get the handsets right. Then we need to get the devices, like a MiFi devices could be the early usage. If you have 4 people in the house, instead of all 4 of you changing to 5G handset, maybe you'll buy a 5G MiFi and use in your house. Then outdoor CP for FWA. So this is the device part. The network part, we are accelerated our transport readiness to get ready for 5G launch. We are working with tower companies to get the infrastructure ready because we'll need a little bit more space and power on the towers. So really getting everything ready. More important part is once the user starts experiences, do we see that he's able to get a great experience? For that, you need a lot of tuning of the network. I mean, that's what you see when Volti was launched, it took some time. Bofi was launched, took some time. We are using a lot of artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms to actually see how we can actually automate the deployment of this 5G network so that the experience, the users, when they sign on, first few months also is good experience, not a bad experience that later the operator and the ecosystem ties up. We have picked up all the learnings we had for the previous launches. We really hope that 5G will be much better experience on day zero versus what they would have at the previous technology.
Randeep, let's now talk about those people that usually get left behind. It's always us, people in urban cities, big cities that get all the benefits of technology. Now, when it comes to connecting remote parts of the country, how do you see the FWA opportunity for India?
So I would say both opportunities. First of all, is yes, that urban population gets it. Even if you say the fiber to home, which we all use for working remotely, is available largely in tier 1, tier 2 towns. Tier 3 we are launching now. But how does rural India get the access to high speed? I think 5G is the solution, because if you use a 5G network, a normal 5G network, But on the user side, if you do not use a handset but use a FWA device, which could be mounted on a height, then you can really get much farther coverage, could be 15-20 kilometers if you use a high antenna, or at least definitely 15, and you can get much higher speeds than you will get on this thing. So I would say to the rural schools, to the rural dispensaries, to the rural villages where kids study from there, this will be a big boon, because you can actually deploy a 5G FWA solutions in rural schools, and they can get access to all the value which internet brings in terms of remote education. So I see a very big plus on connecting rural using 5G and FWA combination. So you have hit the nail on the head. It's very useful for rural India.
I really hope this happens very quickly, Randeep, because those that are untouched by technology now need to be part of it. Now, Randeep, given the data proliferation in India, do you see network quality as an important differentiator for service providers, especially in the 5G era? Because, we all do tend to get a little frustrated with that part.
Absolutely. If you really ask me, data connectivity at home is very important. That is what Airtel prides itself. I mean, we are like maniacally passionate about giving a great experience to our customers. Do whatever it takes. It is more complex nowadays. That's why I said we use a lot of digitization and artificial intelligence kind of tools to see what that experience user is getting, what we can do. We're going to bring all those in, plus more what 5G brings in, to give a great experience on 5G, because I would believe that 5G will really bring the better experience than what we get today on speeds, especially speeds. Second thing is the experience is on the onboarding, the subscription. If you remember earlier, first days of 4G people did not switch on, VoLTE people did not switch on. So can we make sure that the device part of the experience of the customer is also good? And then in case customer has to subscribe anything or a top-up package, can his handheld, like in our case, a Airtel Thanks app, can he use just the app and he doesn't have to actually call a call center or go to a station? So it's not only just the experience of usage, the experience, but also the subscription experience and the, you can say, the top-up experience which the customer may need once we gets on to a new service. I think that's another angle where we are focusing on.
Thank you, Randeep. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope we continue, maybe have you back again for this series. You told me some really, really fascinating things. And thank you everybody out there that is actually tuned into this series. We have so much more happening. So here's something that I want you to do. Every time we're doing this series, we're getting more and more questions from all of you. Keep sending those questions. Put it out on my social media, on my Twitter. Put it out on Ericsson's social media. Very important that I get all your questions. I'll be answering all of them right here on this series. See you next week.